This one technique helped me open my heart center and allowed me to let my emotions flow a lot more freely. Before, I struggled with emotional release in a big way. And I noticed that this one shift in the way I did my meditation changed the game for me. It did not require any complication, emotional processing techniques the way I had used in the past, but just opening up that heart center of mine made it happen for me. So if you're curious, if you struggle with that, if you were someone who has an armor on when it comes to emotions, or you someone you find that you tend to perform for others rather than really be in your own aura, in your own essence, then that likely points to a heart center block. And this technique will help you out. So keep watching and let's get into it. Before we get started, my name is Poonam. I am a spiritual seeker. I share my daily experiences in what I have found to be valuable within my spiritual journey. So, let me give you a little bit of my background. My whole entire life, I have had issues being myself, being completely authentic. And I don't know where it comes from. Yes, I did not have the picture perfect childhood, but also I did not have the worst childhood. So it's hard to tell. And sometimes heart can be strange. There are things that the heart can find a bit not nice. And as a child, you're just told to keep quiet, move on. So we don't really realize where some of these blocks come from. You don't need to go through a major traumatic event in your life for you to have heart center blockages. But there are signs and there are symptoms. One of the big ways I realized that I had a heart chakra blockage is that I was always performing unless I was very comfortable with somebody else, extremely comfortable, I pretty much had a mask on all the time. And I could not help it. It was just very strange. I would be in meetings, I would be out with friends, and I would almost reprimand myself like, stop it. Can you stop performing? Can you stop? Can you just be you? But it's easier said than done, especially when you're an empath, because as an empath, your energy gets very easily enmeshed with somebody else's, and it's kind of hard to come back to yourself, to center yourself. For a really long time, I was on a quest of, oh, how exactly can I be my authentic self and really let my energy come back to me. And I have been, for the past 2 years, I've been on this journey of emotional transformation and processing all my trauma and processing my emotions. There have been techniques that have helped me out a lot. I have gone in deep recesses of my psyche to process this trauma and understand where it's coming from. You can look through my past videos where I talk about it. But what I also realized is that I had to do a lot for my emotions to flow. So I would have to have something trigger me, which things started triggering me a lot once I went on this journey. And I would have to process it so deep, so hard that it would leave me raw. And I came to a point where being raw just became my baseline because of that. Because what tends to happen is when you're constantly in the negatives, even though, yes, you're releasing your emotions, your subconscious thinks that you're going through that same event again. Your subconscious does not know the difference. So I started, in a way, staying in that negative vibration for a really long period of time and snapping at people and just getting triggered by the smallest of things. To put it in a better way, my emotional resilience went down a lot because the way I was processing my emotions was too extreme. And sometimes for the smallest things, I was going to these extreme depths. And it kind of brought me back to just our life, using our life as a metaphor or as a totem and try to understand how things should flow when we look at nature. So, if there are no blockages, your emotions should flow normally. Like right now, when I'm talking, I feel this sudden wave of emotions. I just feel sad. And I, the sadness needs to flow, right? It's normal for the sadness to flow if there is no blockages in your system. It's like, I was going to give an example, but maybe it's too crass. I'm just going to give it anyway. Say if you are having constipation issues, there's a blockage. So you're not going to have the movement that you expect. But if there were no blockages in the first place, then there's a movement. You shouldn't have to take a laxative every freaking time you need to have a bowel movement, because if you do, then that is likely signifying something much, much deeper, right? After I did it for a while, I was realizing that maybe something's wrong here. Maybe why do I need to go to this extreme to process even my present trauma? There's something wrong there. If I'm processing, yes, to process my past trauma that I've not confronted, I get it. I need to do that. But if something's just happening in real time, then those emotions kind of just need to flow out. I don't need to go to these crazy deep depths and tap and kind of have this mad downs all over the house. It should be flowing. Everything should be flowing. Little emotion should be flowing throughout the day. I have a 3-year-old niece, and it's one of the most beautiful things I witnessed, that every time we spend like a whole day with her, every hour, she'll just start crying or she'll just be mad. She's in real time processing how she's feeling, even though there's nothing going on. She will just pick the random things and she'll cry over it, and she releases emotions. And we don't do that. We kind of let them pile up until it gets to the point where we do release them. I was just kind of not understanding why I had to sit down and do this whole process in order to get there. And then finally, I decided I have a meditation practice, which I kind of had left alone for some time because I was doing this emotional work, which took up so much of my time. I wasn't meditating the way I used to. So I decided to pick that up about a month back. And what I noticed is that leaving meditation out was one of the biggest mistakes that I made, because meditation does improve your emotional resilience. It really does. So little things don't bother you, don't nag at you. And this is not emotional bypassing. It's not saying that if something bothers you, you're letting it bypass, but it's like those things don't affect you as much. It doesn't touch you. That's the best way I can put it. You become emotionally resilient with meditation when done the correct way. I'm not talking about guided meditations and things like that, although they do have their own benefits. I'm more talking about really quieting your mind, and that has its own benefits. But my meditations up until now, the way I did it is in order to calm my strong mind. And yeah, emotional resilience was, I guess, a side effect, a good side effect, a benefit of that meditation. What I did differently this week, and I have been noticing big shifts because of that, and that's why I received the nudge to record this to help somebody who runs into the same thing that I did, is that I decided to pick up a heart chakra meditation. And I have done heart related work in the past, but I have not seen much benefit out of it, to be honest. It has not, even with like a lot of the energy work and so on, I have not really seen a big difference to my heart center. And this was purely intuitive, the way I discovered it. I'll leave a link to that meditation in the description box down below. As a disclaimer, it is a paid meditation. If you want to take it up a notch, you can use it. I've thought that it was a very powerful meditation, but I think even if you go to YouTube, just to start out to see if this process works for you, you could just type in heart chakra meditation, pick up like a binaural beat, brainwave type of meditation, or even just having a nice soothing type of music in the background, just playing that while you meditate on this would help out. And then if you want to take it up a notch and replicate exactly what I did, then I'll leave a link to that meditation in the description box down below and you can buy it. So with heart chakra, the telltale sign of whether your heart chakra is blocked or not is, the best way I like to look at it is through archetypes. Heart chakra has, on the light side, on the good side, the archetype is that of a lover, where you're loving freely, you're loving yourself, you're loving everybody else with an open heart. And then on the shadow side is the actor, the masked persona, where you are putting up an act and you're performing for everybody else because you don't want them to see the true you. You want to keep your emotions guarded in a way, or you're too open about it, or whatever the case it may be. But there is a persona there and you have a mask on. This is not a true you. So as you can see, this 100% reflects where I used to be and all the work that I had to done in order to feel unmasked, which felt like a lot. One of the other signs with your heart chakra blockage is it's always striving, never arriving. So it's like this very perfectionist type of tendencies that you will have where you will do all the work, but when the work is done, it feels like it is not ready yet, right? You're very self-critical. You have very high standards in a bad way. It's almost reflected inwards and also towards other people. A lot of criticism there. If you find yourself criticizing the ones that are the closest to you, if you find that you are very critical about yourself, resentment, bitterness, all of that points to a heart chakra blockage. If that is you, then you likely have a similar block. So what I did during my meditations is usually, and if you're someone who cannot meditate at all, don't worry, I'll walk you through that as well, and then show you how you can use the same technique in order to get centered in your heart center and start aligning that part within you. So the way I do my regular meditation is just have music in the background. And then because your energy is usually scattered and all over before meditation, I will usually, okay, say for example, if I have this pen in my hand, right? And say if I'm looking at this pen right now, like this. And then if I close my eyes, I'm still going to know that the pen is over here. And you can do this with me, right? You know that pen is right there at that spot. That's your consciousness being directed towards the pen. Now, if I take this pen up, I still know where that pen is, and my consciousness is right now focused on it, even though my eyes are closed. Let me know if you're still with me, okay? And then what I want to do is in my regular meditation, because my head was always scattered, I would let that focal point kind of travel into the center of my head and focus there, right? And that's where my focus is right now. And then I would just randomly pick a mantra like Om, anything, any mantra that you have, and then just say one word is better. It helps you ground yourself a lot better and just mentally repeat it over and over again in my head. So Om, 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 but mentally, not saying it out loud. The other alternative that you can do is you can count down from 100 to 1. This technique is anyone can do it. The Om one is still harder, it gives you a deeper meditation, but 100 to 1, it's like anyone. I have taught this technique to my 7-year-old and he can meditate with that as well. So just backward, you just count down 100, 99, 98, 97, and you keep going mentally. You're not saying it out loud, you're saying it mentally, and you just meditate to it. You will notice within 5 minutes, your mind is going to be so quiet. Where before it was turbulent, now it just feels like it's stilled. That's what it's going to feel like. Now, so what did I do? This is my regular meditation technique, by the way. So if you're someone who just wants to start out with meditation, this is great. But this is not the technique for the heart opening, releasing your emotional blockages type of meditation. So now for this heart meditation, what I did was instead of having that focal point in my head, I started there, but as the music was playing, I brought, and it took a while, through my breath, I let that focal point travel all the way down into my heart center. And it's almost like you will feel inside, if you're present enough in your body, you're going to feel like a little this energetic thing. And if you don't, that's okay. Over time, you will start sensing it, but it's going to be somewhere in the center like this, right? Somewhere around here where you'll feel that heart center and you want to let your consciousness travel down to that point, and then you just keep breathing in and out. And see if that's not enough for your focus, you can do the same technique. So just pick a mantra, Om, and just keep repeating it and imagine your heart just beating in and out. I was focusing on my heartbeat and just repeating that mantra, or you could just count down 100, 99, 98, and you will notice that as the meditation goes on, you're going to feel the centering around your heart and you're going to start feeling your emotions flow. You're not even going to know, but tears may start welling up in your eye, or a past incident is going to come to surface, and you just have to let it be. You're not trying to make any sense out of it. It's your heart releasing emotions, it's releasing grief, and it's doing what it needs to. So that is my technique. And what I noticed at the end of that was amazing. I felt like I was present. What tends to happen is, as empaths, we have our energy enmeshed with somebody else. At the end of this, I noticed that I was more present within myself and I was bringing my energy back to me. So even as I'm having this conversation, I'm not out here thinking about you. I'm very present in my heart, giving you the value that I want to do without any thoughts, without any agenda, without anything else going on. And I'm letting my emotions flow at the same time. So usually this is the 18-minute mark right now for me. And usually by this time, I am so exhausted doing a video on YouTube, like I have a headache and all of this. I don't feel that right now because a couple of times when I had some emotional surge, and even right now, I can just feel it freely flowing through me. And it's just coming out in little easy ways. So it doesn't really jumble up into this big thing, giving me a migraine at the end of things. And it's just happening for me. And I also don't feel like I'm putting an act on. I'm just being myself. This is how I would talk to my friends. This is how I normally talk. So that's that. I think I found a hack into releasing blocks, and it's not just releasing blocks, but it's really opening the flow. I think that's the difference because I knew how to release blocks, but then it's like block releasing is a weird thing because these blocks keep coming back. So we need to find a way where you can just open up that pathway completely, where you don't feel the need to take these make believe laxatives all the time. And now you may say that, oh, but you're meditating to it. Yeah, sure, I am. But I do also think that's different. Like meditation is something you use for maintenance for every single day to bring about more emotional resilience, but you're not taking a medicine. There's a difference between taking your vitamins versus taking a medicine in order to do things regularly. And a lot of the emotional processing techniques out there feels like that. It feels like this emotional purge, and it is, for the lack of a better word, sometimes too intense when you have these powerful chakras, these energy centers within your body, that when you learn to work with them and when you just learn to be one and be present with them and give that attention to them, you can open up these blockages and open that path in a much gentler and effective way where you don't, the stuff doesn't just keep piling on and now you have to again do a technique in order to get rid of it, but it just helps you open up that flow in a much more easier way. I hope what I said made sense, and I do hope you try it out. Let me know if you do. So with that, thank you for watching, and I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below and let me know if you have been successful in opening a heart center or the challenges that you have had through your journey within emotional processing, or maybe this is a completely new buzzword to you. Whatever it is, I want to know. I'm curious. Let's have a conversation in the comments, and I cannot wait to hear back from you. If you haven't done so already, be sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.